This episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by Crave Jerky. It is made with tender, gourmet cuts of meat and elevated yet simple, all-natural ingredients. Crave Jerky is a great source of protein that's low in fat and gluten-free, not to mention the range of flavors is bold and imaginative. I mean, they have sweet chipotle beef, black cherry barbecue pork, and chili lime beef, and I have in fact, tried these and they are delicious. I love to snack and I am impatient, and this is the perfect snack for someone on the go. Try one of Crave's bold, tender flavors like chili lime beef or black cherry barbecue pork. Go to cravejerky.com and you can get 20% off your order when you use the code GRACE, Grace. Hi, Jack Ferry.
Hi, Grace Helbig. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Welcome to another episode of Not Too Deep. I'm very excited. Ronny Chieng's here with us today.
Yes.
I've never met him before, and he was such a delight. It was very cool. I was also, to be honest, very nervous because he's a senior correspondent on The Daily Show.
I know. It's very intimidating because I hold that show in such high regard.
Same. I also think I'm quite dumb when it comes to politics. So being in the presence of someone whose job it is to be so informed makes me feel less than, to say the least. But I did audition for The Daily Show. I mentioned it in here in New York years and years ago when they were when I think John Daly was still Jon Stewart still hosting it. John Daly, another great comedian who we should get on the podcast. And yeah, it was a very interesting audition process because they ask you to write basically a full segment, because that's what these guys do, is like they produce and write their own segments. Yep. And so you had to, which I'd never obviously had any real experience doing that, but to write a segment that felt fully represented who you were and what you could bring to like the table of, diversity in topics that they, talk about under the umbrella of politics and culture. Sure. And so I talked about how if each member of, the government were to be a real housewife, which one would they be and why?
So did you feel like an extra pressure knowing that like, if I do a good job on this, Jon Stewart is going to be watching it with a very critical eye, judging it and me?
Yeah, I was like, part of me was like, I really want to do my best. This is an amazing show with amazingly intelligent and funny people. But then part of me was secretly like, I hope I don't get this because I'm going to like not do well on this show. And so also I was trying to do a lot of research, and I was even more ill-informed years ago, and I didn't have a TV in my apartment, so I like hardly ever watched the show at the time, let alone like CNN or anything else. So everything was just like Googling online everything. And so I was like, I really shouldn't go out of the spectrum of what I know, because it's not gonna, I know I'm gonna fuck it up somehow. So just talk to what you know. And I dressed in my best like business professional looking garb, like I was an intern at the White House or something.
Your fake news personality outfit.
Yeah, and you're in front of a green screen, and they ask you what kind of graphics, if you want any, to like put up. So they fully package a piece that they can present.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because it was also like a very quick auditioning process, so they wanted everyone to come fully prepared, and it was very nerve-wracking. I was very sweaty, but everyone I remember was very, very nice. And I very much did not get it at all. And it's very much for the best.
What's interesting too about that show is after Jon Stewart left, there was this vacuum. Mm-hmm. And then all of these shows came up, which I think is good, because I think it's good that we're talking about politics even more. Like, you could kind of, I feel like The Daily Show, as great as it was when Jon Stewart was on, was kind of marginalized, because it was just sort of like, oh, it's that one show on Comedy Central, who fucking cares? Whereas now it's like, there's John Oliver, there's Samantha Bee, there's Stephen Colbert on CBS. Mm-hmm. There's, and I feel like it's kind of cool that it's like, and of course The Daily Show, Trevor Noah is still on.
Yeah, and it just made talking and learning about politics cool for a young audience, because I remember being in college, I've never been a politically minded person, but I also had no appetite for it, because there was just nothing that spoke to me as a young person that wasn't like CNN or any of these things. I'm not absorbing the information because I don't find it, I can't figure out how to, it's just not interesting. My brain won't take it in. Yeah. And so I think The Daily Show was this like cornerstone of talking about politics in a real but funny way and making it entertainment first, and information at the same time, which I think made it cool for people to want to learn about it.
Yeah, but even so, I still think that statistically, young people are still like the worst in terms of like their record in voting, like just actually going out and voting. And I read somewhere recently that was like, if we can just increase the number of young people voting, like people between the ages of like 18 and 30, by like 5%, I think it would completely shift the map.
Don't hold me to this, but I thought there was some reporting that like the voter registration or the voter turnout for young people was like higher than it's ever been.
It is now because we're all very
because there's so many young advocates that are screaming and putting it into people's ears and letting people know that voting is a right and should be exercised and is easy to do. Because I remember feeling
you can do it in like 2 minutes.
Oh yeah, I remember feeling completely confused. I'm generally not a very capable person, so the idea of like figuring out how to register the vote was to me like doing my taxes, that I'm like, I don't even want to try and figure this out.
You can do it on a website now.
So easy.
Yeah, it's so easy.
Oh, we should put the link in our description of the episodes to register to vote.
Absolutely. We will definitely do that.
Yeah, if you guys haven't done it already, please go do that. It'll be in the description of this podcast.
And I'll also say this, and this is something that I heard one of the activists from the March for Our Lives say, which is if you're listening to this show and you're too young to vote, and you still want to contribute, something that is really helpful is just register a couple people or get them to register.
Yeah.
Someone who wasn't registered to vote, get them to register. That's how you can be active. And I think even if you're just registering a couple of people, like if everyone does that, then we're going to increase our turnout. And then that could really shift the way we are being represented. I also learned something else that was really interesting on another podcast I was listening to, which is you have to vote in Australia.
Yeah.
It's like the law.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't do that here.
And we should have talked to Ronny about it because he lived in Melbourne for 10 years.
That's true. Yeah,
we missed a goddamn opportunity.
We did miss an opportunity. But I just think that as a concept, that's interesting because it was. I heard David Sedaris was talking about it when he was on Mark Maron's podcast, and he was like, I don't know that people are more well informed necessarily. He's like, but the fact that you have to do it is sort of like, it sort of makes you go, well, I got to, so I must I'll read something about who to vote for. Yeah. Whereas if you don't have to, it's sort of like, well, I guess I don't need to, because, we all live busy lives, and I think it's understandable why some people would be like, I don't want to take the time to like learn about the candidates locally. And like, that does feel like homework in like an already busy life. But if you had to, it's like, well, it's either that or get like a ticket.
Yeah.
I guess I'll figure this out briefly and then show up at the ballot box.
Well, hopefully with the climate of politics now, it is forcing more people to educate themselves.
There is like an element now too of like, well, you will be shamed. Where it's like, I think if you say like, oh, I didn't vote in the last election, everyone will look at you now and be like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, that's what I do to people. Yeah. I mentally shame them. I just squint and I wag my finger and I say, shame. It works. It works. Just putting that out there.
Also, young people shame people into registering.
Yeah, if you wanna either register them to vote, and if they don't want to do it, just a little quick shame finger at them. See how that goes for you. Okay, without further ado, here's Ronny Chieng on this episode of Not Too Deep.
Not Too Deep with Grace Helbig.
Today's episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by our buddies at ZipRecruiter. Hiring used to be hard, multiple job sites, stacks of resumes. It's a confusing review process, but today, hiring can be easy, and you only have to go to one place to get it done, ZipRecruiter.com/Grace. With their powerful matching technology, ZipRecruiter sends your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards and scans thousands of resumes to find people with the right experience to apply. As applications come in, ZipRecruiter analyzes each one and spotlights the top candidates so that you never miss a great catch. ZipRecruiter is so effective that 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. they do everything for you is basically what I'm getting at. With results like that, it's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the highest rated hiring site in America. And right now, my beautiful listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free at this exclusive web address. You guessed it, ZipRecruiter.com/Grace. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Grace, GRACE, ZipRecruiter.com/Grace. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Not too deep.
This episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by Carbon 38. If you guys know me, you know I take comfort in my fashion over anything. And Carbon 38 asks the question, can your workout clothes double as your outfit for a night out or even for work? Yes. The answer is yes. Carbon 38 is a luxury activewear and ready-to-wear brand designed by and for the modern woman. That's me. They have transitioned effortlessly from studio to street, from workout to weekend, with a wide variety of pieces, including leggings, sports bras, swimsuits, sweaters, shoes, and dresses, which is basically my entire wardrobe. And their best-selling Takara legging, which I got sent to me, is amazing. It has a cult following. It's sold out 3 times. Somehow I was able to get a pair of the shiny black ones that look like I'm wearing like cool pleather responsible pants out for the night, but psych, I'm wearing leggings. They're available in 11 different colors, so they can go with any outfit. The Takara leggings fabric creates a leather look, like I said, but it's comfortable, it's breathable, and it highlights your legs in all the right places. And if it's out of stock, you can select your size and sign up for a notification when it's back in stock. And don't worry, returns are free within the US. So Carbon38.com offers new arrivals from top brands every day. And right now, my listeners can receive 20% off your order by going to Carbon38.com and using my code GRACE, GRACE. That's Carbon38.com, promo code GRACE for 20% off your purchase. We're here with Ronny Chieng. Yay!
Yay! Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here.
No problem.
I was watching. I like social media stalked you out.
Thank
Obviously.
you. Thanks for stalking me.
welcome.
It's there for. It's there for. Yeah, that's what it's there for. to be
Here's my
stalked.
fascination, because you're a stand-up and an actor and a writer and a performer, all of this stuff. And what is your relationship with social media?
I fucking hate it.
Really?
I hate that shit. Yeah.
It's got to feel stressful, right? Because you probably need to like maintain some relationship with it because of their work on the Daily Show and that kind of stuff.
I have a very love-hate relationship with it right now. My current evolution of it is, I'm trying to pretend I'm too cool for school. Where I use it, but I use it in the like very obscure.
Yeah.
Like
I've watched your Instagram.
Yeah.
Like he throws in, Crazy Rich Asians promo because, that's the good thing to do. But then it's just a random photo that's out of context and doesn't make much sense.
And no caption.
No, yeah.
I'm trying to go very like, what's the word? Not postmodern, but very like obscure with the,
like esoteric.
Yeah, esoteric. I'm trying to do the esoteric thing and pretending I don't care about it.
It's working.
So that's the impression you got?
That means
my
impression.
Good, yeah.
I was like, I'm curious to hear if this is him trying or if this is him not trying.
It's like I'm trying to not try is really what it is.
That's good. I think
it's a conscious decision to be like that because it's so man, you get caught up in it. And
it gets overwhelming.
At some point you're like, what am I doing? Yeah, I don't know. So and Twitter is such a hateful place. Like you have to not take it seriously, and then at that point you have to be like, well, then why am I even on it?
Yeah, and then so you have a whole existential crisis with yourself about like where your value lies. That's my day.
So my whole thing now is like and also if the Russian bots, like most of the hate on the internet isn't even coming from humans.
Yeah,
and so what are we doing? Like what?
Arguing with computers.
Yeah, arguing computers and so the whole thing of Twitter now is basically fuck you Twitter. As in the platform, not people on it. I just fuck this platform is dumb and I'll continue using it.
There you go. So you're in an abusive relationship with the internet, basically. That's what it sounds like.
But I need it for my job. I mean, that's the honest truth. Like if it is for my job, because my job is to do stand-up comedy, and for that I need to like advertise shows and get people come out.
And it's also, I mean, for material, you have to kind of like see what people are talking about. Because
but
when you construct your segments on The Daily Show, which are fantastic, by the way.
Yeah,
I
thank
just
you so
watched
much.
the chickens segment, which made me angry and lol at the same time. So thank you.
Thank you for watching.
How do you start to generate your ideas for the segments? Because is the system there that you pitch your ideas for segments and then they kind of green light which ones that they think are good for the show, or do they kind of come to you with ideas to help develop?
Yeah, so the stories will very naturally be in the Z guys. So in the morning meeting, we'll try to figure out what the stories of that day are, and usually it's pretty obvious. Usually there'll be like 3 or 4 very obvious stories.
Sure.
And then we'll bring it down to 1 or 2, and then. Additionally, there'll be stories that are out of the Z guys. For example, the chicken thing, which will pop up on someone's radar or my own radar, and people will pitch it. They'll either pitch it with me in mind, or they'll pitch it to a room, and then I'll get assigned to it, or I'll pitch it for myself. Sometimes I pitch for other people. So there's no real kind of formula. Yeah,
That's
and
nice.
It's very collegiate, and it's very much a team effort, like, to do it.
Yeah, it feels like you're all working together. That's a great system instead of like fighting against each other to get the head of a story or something.
Yeah, it's very collegiate. You know, it's comedy. Like, oh my god, what are we doing? Like, how can you do it with so much hate? It's comedy. You know, like,
that's true.
Trying to make people laugh.
How has working on the Daily Show changed your stand-up?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, I think so. I started on the Daily Show 2 years ago. When I was just hitting 30. So I was already like, man, without sounding too wanky, like I was already like maturing as a person, and I could feel my comedy also changing a little bit.
Sure.
But then I moved to America at the same time, so I had to adjust for that. So like,
did you move from Australia?
Yeah, I moved here from Australia. So I was already kind of like in flux with my I don't get too technical with it, but like point of view and the voice and my sense of humor and topics and how I was talking about topics. So I was already changing. So the Daily Show kind of made me more like more honestly, it made me think more about what I was trying to say. That's one thing we do at the Daily Show a lot, is like
really hone in on your voice.
Yeah, like what are you trying to say? Like, this is a joke, but okay, but what are you trying to say with this joke?
Here?
And
that's interesting. That's a cool way to frame creating comedy.
Yeah, what are you trying to say? Like, because previously it was all just like, man, just make these people laugh. Make these.
Yeah, but that's a great framework to like create a full segment. To have like kind of an essay, like beginning, middle, and end to a piece.
Yeah, what are you trying to say? Yeah.
What were the topics that you started out doing, like in most of your stand up, that have since been either like discarded or have evolved into like a better version of themselves?
Yeah, that's a great question. I
always find it's curious and sometimes embarrassing for stand-ups to talk about the things that they first thought were so funny.
Yeah. But that's the thing, man. People, we have different points of view at different stages of our life, different senses of humor. So obviously you're gonna mature as a person, and obviously your comedy will mature with you.
Sure.
I mean, that's normal and natural. So I mean, I was probably making more dick jokes when I started. Maybe it's pretty close right now. Even now that I think about it.
You're like,
actually, I was making less dick jokes when I started. I also never talked about politics when I started comedy.
Really?
Yeah, I was not.
Oh, interesting.
I kind of avoided the whole thing because I was like, this.
Yeah.
I always felt like I was trying to give people an escape from that shit, and also I always felt like I wasn't smart enough to discuss any of that with any kind of authority, so I just avoided that whole thing.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I feel that way a lot. I try to avoid talking about politics a lot, even though right now it feels unavoidable.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, exactly. And now your career is to talk about it
yeah, so now I do it for a job now. It's awful.
But you must get, I'm sure you get a lot of messages online, for better or for worse, of people that are loving like the representation of, Asians in politics on TV and in comedy. How has that response been? Is it weird? Is it cool? Is it overwhelming?
Yeah, it's been cool. Because that's the thing. I'm not. Man, you want to get into Asian American issues? That's a whole. That's a whole library of issues. Like, so I mean, because I'm not Asian American.
Right.
So when I first joined the show, I think there was like I think the community was like, they didn't really know how to. They were waiting to see.
Oh, interesting.
You know what I mean? It was like, what's this going to be? Is this going to be making us all look bad because he's a foreigner? Or is it going to be, is he going to speak up for us? Or there was an element of like, oh, cool, there's a Chinese guy, but he's from Asia.
Oh,
and what,
so it's like a hesitation.
I think there was a little bit, and then the other thing is that the American Asian community is not a monolith. So there's all these different types of Asians, and we say Asian American. Whoever coined that term like was trying to create a powerful voting bloc, I guess, but it doesn't adequately describe. It's Cambodians, Vietnamese, Thais, Chinese people, Japanese people, Koreans. Like we're all very different, and we usually don't get along. But that's the truth is that we're all very different communities with very different values. So already there you have inbuilt like inbuilt disagreements already. Added to the fact that everyone obviously is also an individual and all that. So when I first joined the show, I think there was an element of like wanting to see how it would go. And, it's weird. Like again, with Asian Americans, there's two competing narratives of like, are we supposed to promote Asian culture in America? Or are we saying we're not Asian, we're American? Stop calling us Asian. And those are two contradictory narratives. You can't resolve that. You can't square that away. If you're trying to push both, at some point it's gonna clash. Yeah. So that's another layer, to navigate. Yeah. Because so the way that would manifest would be like this story. Like, oh, why didn't you talk about Asian people in this story? And then if you talk about Asians, it's like, why are you always talking about Asian people? Why can't
so you can't win.
You really can't win. That's why that's Twitter.
That's the fun. Yeah, that's Twitter in a nutshell. Yeah. You can't win no matter how good your intentions are.
Yeah. So the truth is you just have to tell authentic stories, and you have to trust your own internal kind of ability to tell stories and your own taste. Yeah. So hopefully you have good taste. Yeah, because otherwise if you start writing comedy and telling stories by committee, it's like that's a recipe for
disaster.
Yeah.
When was the first time in your mind that you thought you were funny? And was there a first person that you still waiting for that day?
I'm still like
well, was there someone, because you studied law, right?
Yeah.
And so you made like a transition from law to comedy.
Yeah.
Was there like not to like discount this in any way, but was there like a comedy coming out experience that you had? Did you tell someone that you were like, I want to?
No, I saw people do stand up in college when I was at law school. Law school in Australia is undergraduate, so I was an undergraduate law student. So I was watching people do stand up, and I was like, oh, I think I could do that. Yeah. And I told my friends, like, hey, I'm going to try to do that, and they were like, you better not do that because you suck. Yeah. They were like, don't do that. It's gonna be. Yeah. They were like, you're gonna be terrible. Don't do it. And I was like, oh, I think I can. I'll give it a try. So I just tried it, and then it kind of worked out. So
that's great. And you've traveled and done comedy basically everywhere, it seems like.
Yeah, I think most places. Yeah, because when you're not from in Australia, it's a comedy festival circuit.
Right. Yes.
So we do comedy festivals like Edinburgh, Melbourne, Sydney, but like we do it. That's how we do it. We don't really do comedy by comedy clubs.
Yeah, it's not like an open mic scene.
No, there is open mic scene, but the way the comedy industry works in Australia is that everything kind of centers around the comedy festival.
Got it.
It's hard to explain, but everyone there does like an hour.
Got it. Oh yeah, no, that makes sense.
That's why the net came out of there, because that's the kind of format we do.
Yeah.
Hannah Gatsby's Australian, so
yeah.
I know her really well.
What did you think of that special?
Yeah, it was great.
I still haven't seen it. I've heard nothing but amazing things about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up watching Chris Lilly and think that he's amazing. And his character work is just Jamae. I love so much. Right. I want to be friends with her, but I also don't want to be friends. I think that's a sign of a true success.
That's cool that he's entered. He's blown up so big, Chris Lilly.
Your show that you have coming out, has been out in Australia, is now coming here.
Yeah.
Are you, I mean, by the time this airs, it'll be out already. It's coming out in August. Okay. So are you worried about the translation of it at all?
Yeah, I was, but there's nothing I can do about it, so whatever.
I may as well just bury my feelings.
But I think with storytelling, I think authenticity resonates. So I think you can tell niche stories and people get behind it if the authenticity is there. And I think this story in particular is comes from a very authentic place. It's
based on your life.
Yeah, it's what I experienced in law school. So I think that people get behind it, and people aren't dumb, man. They get like, oh, it's like it's set in Australian university. We're all Asian law students studying in university. Like, people get it. Like I think people get it. I don't know.
Okay, without giving too much away, do you have a favorite episode?
Yeah, we can give the whole thing away if you
go.
want. Yeah, it's been out. It was out in Australia and the UK like last year.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Yeah,
so it's not debuting.
Yeah, people are probably pirating it already. I mean, hopefully they're pirating it because people are
that's a
watching
sign
it.
of something desirable.
Go check out BitTorrent, everybody. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite episode or favorite scene?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with all the episodes. Lots of cool. Man, how am I gonna
choose your favorite child?
Choose your favorite one.
Literally.
Yeah.
Well, that's the sign of a good show if you're proud of the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the pilot was probably the one where it was in hindsight. The pilot was probably. I don't even know how to, like, quote unquote, the weakest episode in some ways because we're still learning how to tell we're still learning what the world was.
Right.
We're learning how to tell that story.
The tone, the pacing,
yeah,
all of that.
you have to set up the world and tell a story. So, I mean, I love the pilot, but I think the pilot's actually in hindsight, the weakest one, as it should be, because we get better telling it, and we figure out what we liked and what we didn't like, you know. Anyway, so I think the second episode is probably one of my favorites. You know, there's a lot of layers in there with colonialism and Americans and Australians, and then there's like a reference to Apocalypse Now at the end. So yeah, check it out. Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah,
that's super exciting.
Yeah, there's also an episode where Asian people play sports and we're more good at it, which I like. Yeah, there's also an episode with like computer viruses and all. So I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in there. There's a Power Rangers like homage in there. There's a bubble tea sequence.
These are all great selling points.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff in there that I like. I thought it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, if you had to request to be in a pre-existing franchise to act in, what would you want to be in?
That's nice. Dude, that's a good one.
It's a tough question.
Mission Impossible.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
I love Mission Impossible. I haven't
seen the new one.
It's great. I went to the premiere like last week.
Oh, cool.
It's awesome.
I heard that, he like broke his ankle because he had to learn how to fly his own helicopter.
I love how that story became that, because it's actually he jumped across a roof and broke his foot.
Oh, okay.
And then he flew a helicopter and put it into like a death spin by himself, apparently.
Yeah, I saw that because before I went to Jurassic World and they have 10 hours of previews before the movie starts, and then they give you, when the previews you think are done, all of a sudden an exclusive sneak peek behind the scenes.
Oh man.
Yeah, and it shows that he wanted to learn how to like fly the helicopter himself, so it wasn't like a green screened thing at all.
Yeah. What's crazy is he also did like that halo jump, which is like extremely dangerous, where you like jump from like a super high altitude where it's like low oxygen. And then I found out later that when he filmed that movie, he was 5 years older than Wilford Brimley was when he did Cocoon.
Wow.
Who's like the old dude in Cocoon.
No. I mean, if you want to keep it in universe, he's 5 years younger than John Voight in Mission Impossible 1.
What?
Who was playing the old
crazy.
guy.
Yes,
so,
I know.
You know what I mean? In Mission Impossible 1, the worn out old retiring dude.
Yeah.
Like Tom Cruise is like, I think just 5 years away from that.
That's crazy.
I mean, he's gonna live forever.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's gonna be a
that.
spry 90-year-old.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's very well kept, yeah. Henry Cavill's in it as well. Henry Cavill's great. I love Henry Cavill.
Yeah. What's cool about that franchise too is it's like it's an ongoing franchise. All the movies are pretty good, and it doesn't have like the toxic fan base of some like major franchises.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I don't think it has.
I don't think it does.
Yeah. People might dismiss it or hate it, but it's not toxic the way like Star Wars is toxic.
Yeah, they're not angry at it. It doesn't seem like they're just like they avoid it if they're not interested in it.
And there actually is a lot of artistry. First of all, the new one shot beautifully, very elegant. It's a cool story, good acting. Beautiful stunt work. Camera work is crazy. Like if you are remotely interested in behind the camera, the technical aspects of it, the way they zoom in on cars during a car chase scene, they'll zoom in and out and go around, and like you're wondering how did they film this? You know, stuff like that. You know,
it's insane.
Yeah, but also there's almost like an art house element to it, because every I think with exception of 2 of them, so 6 movies, all of them had like different directors filming it, so they all have different vibes.
That's cool.
Yeah, like the I can't remember who did the first one. It was
Brian De Palma.
Yeah, Brian De Palma did the first one, and by the way, I actually love the first one a lot. That was my favorite one until this one.
Oh,
Whoa.
cool.
Yeah, because the first one was kind of like it was more of like a mystery than an actual action movie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It was like
it's a mind bender.
yeah, it's a mystery film disguised as an action film. I feel because it got like noir elements to it, and all. But the second one was John Woo.
Yeah.
And so very different
yeah.
vibe. And the third one, so they all have different feels. Like it's kind of like a cool little.
So when you get cast in the seventh one,
Oh right,
what kind of
Chinese
character?
intelligence,
Okay.
of course.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think that can happen.
I hope it
let's
can happen.
manifest
Let's
Tom
tweet.
Cruise is a huge fan of the podcast.
I'll join
so-
Scientology right now.
Oh man, you've already
I'll
joined by
fucking go
being
around-
here.
Yeah. Oh, this is it.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah, we haven't taken
You're
out the
auditing
e-meters
right
yet.
now. We're saving all the tapes.
Oh,
so
this
keep
is the auditing.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so Westworld.
Oh my god, I know.
No,
well, you're
imagine
talking
that-
to two AIs, so we're all good.
Yeah. No, imagine that. You go for a podcast actually is an auditing session. That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I can't think about it too much because then I'm gonna get sad and anxious. But has there been anyone either on the Daily Show that you've like totally fanboyed out about, or anyone in just like being in the entertainment industry that you've been at a party or a premiere that you're like, oh my god, they're here. I'm gonna embarrass myself if I talk to them.
Yeah, I try not to do that. Yeah, no, you gotta. Yeah, I try to stay professional. I have definitely internally fanboyed a lot, but yeah. So the only dude I've actually asked for a photo was Cory Booker of all people.
Really?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
he's the
cool.
only one of everybody who
And
I
he's like the nicest guy. I
nicest
hear.
dude. Yeah. So lots of people I admire, like Bill Gates came in once. T.I. I love T.I. was there yesterday.
That's quite a spectrum.
Yeah, Bill Gates, T.I. I think we had oh man, who's the guy in Black Panther? That guy.
Oh.
Yeah, Boseman was there.
Chadwick Boseman.
We had lots of people. Bill Clinton came in once. I think we had Hillary Clinton. We had lots of big names, but I try to stay professional with it. I open for because I'm a stand up. I started in stand up, so for me that's the I geek out the most with stand ups, and so I got to open for Bill Burr in Australia
cool.
once. I got to open for Dave Chappelle, and both those guys. This is before I moved to America.
Yeah.
So I was in Australia, and both times those guys were guys where like you just go in the green room and like you just try to be professional and not ask for photos and not fucking be annoying and like, give them space. And not be up in the grill the whole time and all that.
Yeah.
So I kind of come from that. That's why
That makes sense.
That's why I have.
That's why you work in the industry.
That's why my Instagram sucks because I don't have photos of all these people because I'm just like.
No, that's good. You have mental memories of these people.
Because don't you feel it's a little bit like you're trying to like take something from, you know what I mean?
So
Like
the only person I ever like got a photo with was Taylor Swift. She
Right.
was my Cory Booker.
Right,
and
right.
so that was that was and it took me a long time to build myself up to that.
Yeah.
But I also feel like I'm being like cheesy or cringy or like
Yeah.
bothering someone.
Exactly.
And that's the worst fear is like that someone would think I'm bothering them
Yeah.
or feel bothered by
exactly.
me.
Or they feel like you're just trying to use them to get
Yes.
improve.
Yeah, that they're just
Yeah.
some asset for you to do. Yeah,
But,
totally get it.
Like when I opened for Chappelle at night, we were after shows. Chappelle's after show parties are crazy, and then we were in Australia in Adelaide, and this particular after show party, Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole were touring Australia at the time, so they're both at this. We're at this small club in Australia,
Cool.
Yeah.
literally a small club. So Kendrick Lamar's right next to me and all that.
man.
And the whole time they're like, "Oh man, I really want to ask for a photo," but I was
Yeah.
like, I don't want to be that guy. Like,
It's a
just be
very-
cool in this thing. And
Yeah.
I kind of regret not because at that time that was 2014 or something. He was just blowing up. But,
Yeah.
Sure.
But anyway,
but you did the right thing. You're a gentleman.
I think so. I mean, you don't want to. Yeah.
Do you have any guilty pleasure TV that you watch?
Yeah, $1 Million Listing New York. Great show. $1 Million Listing New York. Has won Emmys.
Yeah, no,
Those guys.
I
Yeah.
watched it. It's I mean, I'm a Bravo head like
Right,
crazy.
right.
But that's the one franchise I haven't fully gotten behind.
Yeah, yo.
It's that and Below Deck are not like
Right.
there for me. My boyfriend's obsessed with Below Deck. That's the only reality show he
Right.
watches, which pisses me off because I'm like, you picked the shittiest one to watch. But okay, why that one?
I think I don't know. it might be a combination of age. Me and my wife love watching it together.
You also live in New York.
Yeah, and I think that too. Living in New York, and
you know what $1 million can't buy you.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Wait, did you watch? Because who's the main?
Frederick.
Yeah, who
Longberg,
he works with Bethany too. Did you watch their like spin-off series?
Oh
of
yeah,
them?
they spun off into something else. Yeah,
Yeah,
those guys are just killing it on Bravo.
They're doing it.
Yeah, I think Frederick has like a song.
He sings.
Yeah, he's like no. He made this weird song like that was like you know like when there's like a novelty song that can hit the top 10.
Oh yeah, don't be tardy for the party.
Yeah, stuff like that.
The Kim Zolciak Summer Slam. It was great.
Yeah.
Back in the day, Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Exactly.
Really put her on the map. Yeah, and Countess Luann de Lesseps, Real Housewives of New York. You can't buy class.
Well, a lot of households of New York here from you. You know their whole.
Oh, I know too much. It's occupying too much space in my brain. I should remove that and learn more about politics. But no, that's all there for me.
You probably have more fun learning about that than learning about politics right now.
If they presented politics the way they present Real Housewives, I think I would hold on to more information about it.
Do you know they started doing that though? Like do you watch The Circus on Showtime?
Oh, no.
Anyway, The Circus on Showtime, they started doing news like a drama. So it's shot and it feels like House of Cards. But it's the news. It's a weekly show. It's the news. It's reporters.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I want to see that.
This was, actually a little fun fact about Grace Helbig. I auditioned for The Daily Show when I lived in New York.
Oh, you auditioned?
Yeah, and you had to come with a segment that you prepared and deliver it. And my segment was comparing the people in the White House to Real Housewives. You can see why I didn't get cast.
No,
on
that's
the
good.
show.
That's exactly a connection to make. That's good.
I was just trying to hit because they were looking for females to come on like 5 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
So it was still during the Obama years then.
Yeah, and it was like it was just a very last minute thing because they were just like bringing in every comedian girl in New York to come and do something, and it was just like very stressful but fun. So many memes, yay! Okay, Crazy Rich Asians.
Yes, ma'am.
This is coming out. Well, it'll be out by the time this airs.
Yes.
How was that filming experience? And you get to play like a total douchebag,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That must have been fun.
Yeah, it was super fun. To be honest, very little acting with that stuff. Yeah.
You're like, they didn't give me scripts. They just let me go.
Just go.
Was there any improvisation or anything like that?
Yeah. John, the director, John Chu, let me make it my own a little bit. Mainly because I can't act, so there's lots of lines like I'm like, I would say it this way. Is it okay? And they're like, yeah, go for it.
That's great.
So they would, yeah.
Yeah, we had Jimmy O Yang on a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he's the best.
Yeah,
I just saw that house
and
last night.
he was he was saying how great of an experience it was. That it was just so fun to be on set. That everyone was having a great time.
So everyone was so fun. We still keep a WhatsApp group. We're
that's
going.
really sweet.
Anytime we're in the same city, we meet up.
So that's cool.
It's a real family. I don't know what it's probably a function of age and race, but like because I've got nothing to compare it to. That's my first movie project, so I'm like, I guess it's always this fun. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and people are like, no, it's never this fun. And then it's like, because we're all like 30-year-old like Asian people in Asia, like in show business. So we all just like there was certain things that we just understood, and apparently the more experienced actors had never been on a cast like that where everyone was kind of like so much on the same page. So we would go at night, we would go eat, all, because in Southeast Asia, Singapore, Malaysia, the biggest thing to do is go eat. That's what we do. So we go eat, we'll all order stuff and just share it.
That's great.
And then we go for karaoke after that. Like it was just super, super Asian shit.
That sounds like a full party the whole time.
Yeah, it was pretty much. I mean,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And it seems like everyone's very proud of the film too. You've seen it, obviously.
Yeah. I saw it for the first time last week. Actually, I was very late to see it. Yeah.
And what'd you think?
It's great. I think it's great.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's a great review.
It's great. Yeah, go watch it. It's mutually independent sources with no investment in the outcome have told me that it was good. So
there you go.
Yeah,
awesome.
I trusted
fair
them.
And balanced review you can
get. It's a fun rom-com, and it somehow manages to be Asian without being heavy-handed about it. They show the culture without explaining everything, they didn't have to explain it. It's hard
it's authentic.
Yeah, it was very authentic. It's a Singaporean story shot on location in Singapore.
Yeah,
where Singapore is like a character in the film.
How long were you guys there for?
2 months, I think. About
wow.
2 months, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm from there, so I got to see my grandparents, hang out with my parents.
that's
My
great.
parents live there.
Did they come
cool.
to set at all?
They didn't come to the set, no.
Okay.
But
How does family feel about what you do?
I think they're okay. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't talk to them.
yeah. I'm not sure.
seem
I think that
They weren't disappointed when you switched from law to comedy.
No, I didn't tell them. I just did it. Yeah.
As far as they know, you're still
I'm still practicing in
You're an
New York right
attorney.
now.
Yeah, you're doing it.
Practicing like on the Judge Judy. Like it's
you're Judge Judy now. You're taking over for her.
Yeah.
God, that's the dream job, though. Really, if you're in law at all.
Yeah, probably our future Supreme Court justice.
Yeah, I heard the other day too that she makes like $1 billion a year or something.
She probably
ridiculous.
makes
And she works like 3 months a year and then has the rest of the year off. They just like block
That's
shoot
the
all of
life,
those.
man.
God bless. Okay, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we get back, we're gonna get a bunch of internet questions for you, Ronnie.
Thank you.
If you will be so gracious as
Sure.
to answer them for us, we'll be right back with Ronny Chieng on Not Too Deep.
Not too deep.
Sorry if I seem a little sleepy today, Grace.
Why? You feel uncaffeinated?
Yeah, because you know my day doesn't start until I get my morning energy boost. I'm talking about coffee. Okay, look, I'm not sleepy. I had a cafe monster. I am awake. I was just lying to get us into this ad.
Here we go.
So there's a new way to enjoy your daily cup of joe, and it is thanks to Cafe Monster.
Yeah, it's available in vanilla mocha and salted caramel. Cafe Monster is shaking up the ready-to-drink coffee category with indulgent gourmet coffee that's only 190 calories.
Not to mention, it's got 150 milligrams of caffeine from coffee beans. It's got B vitamins and coffee fruit extract.
I'll take it.
Yeah, Cafe Monster offers a simplified energy blend that contains a third less sugar than the leading national brand.
In fact, it's 100 fewer calories per bottle than the competition, but you'd never know it by tasting it. It is quite indulgent.
Instead, you get all the same feel and flavor as your local coffee house, and you don't have to wait in line to get it.
Thank God.
Yeah, and and these are really tasty. Like they
Truly.
send us a giant like pallet full of these drinks.
I got a full shipment.
Yes.
It was like the full backload of a truck dumped out of my house, and it was glorious.
Yeah, and so now we are very caffeinated.
So
and
thank
feeling
you.
good.
Thank you, Cafe Monster. Chill it down, shake it up, and enjoy.
Not too deep.
This episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by FabFitFun. FabFitFun's fall box is here. FabFitFun is a seasonable subscription box delivered 4 times a year with full-size fashion, beauty, home, fitness, and wellness products for just $49.99 a box. These are full-size products. There's no sample sizes of anything, and their fall box includes, get ready for this, 2 Glam Glow bubble sheet masks, a beauty blender, a simply whimsical set of 2 tea towels, and Skin & Co. Roma Blue in Capri shower gel, and more. Sorry to tease you, but there's so much more. I love FabFitFun. I think it's a great way to experience products that you might not be able to find on your own and really test them out and get the full, like I said, sizes of them. There's no sample sizing at all whatsoever, and we're not size shaming in any way, shape, or form. So sign up for FabFitFun today to get your fall box. The FabFitFun fall box is limited supply, and these boxes are always sold out. So use my code GRACE, GRACE, to get $10 off your first box. Go to fabfitfun.com to sign up and start getting the box for a life well lived. Use promo code GRACE to get $10 off your first box. And just so you know, it's over $200 worth of products for only $39.99. Go to fabfitfun.com and use my code GRACE to get $10 off your first FabFitFun box. And we're back. Okay, we're going to get into some internet questions. Before we do, I'm going to ask you the 2 questions I ask every guest that's on the podcast.
Sure.
And the first is, who, alive or dead, would you most want to throw cold spaghetti at?
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh damn. Damn. Oh man, I'm blocking out because I try not to hold on to anger, so I'm blocking.
Well, it could be also celebratory.
Oh, that's
It doesn't necessarily. It's entirely up to you. Your intentions behind it.
throw spaghetti at.
Cold spaghetti.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'm having because there's so many people I hate, but I try to forget about it. So
There you go. Well, we can come back to this.
yeah,
if you
can we
wanna,
come back to it? I think
of
it's
course. Okay. The
I
other
want to answer
question
it right.
No, I get it. It's an important, life-changing question, and I don't want the course of your life to change for the worse because of it.
Get it wrong.
Okay, the other question I ask every single guest on the podcast is to tell us your worst pants shitting story, but you can only, or like close call, but you can only use 3 words or 3 small phrases. So mine is college jogging front lawn.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was said.
Did you
clean it up?
Did you feel it coming? Oh, obviously you felt it.
Oh, well, too late. I was like 10 miles away from my home.
Yeah.
And like in the woods. So it was.
Wow, this is an interesting point. So everyone has shat their pants.
No, that's what I've learned by asking this question is that, and that's why we also have added like close call or like pissing your pants.
Right.
Because
not everyone has shat their pants.
I would
turns
say
out
like 1 in 10.
1 in
don't
10
have a story.
don't have a story.
Okay. Yeah.
Or they're just pretending they don't.
Yeah.
Right.
But the thing is, it's not embarrassing because most of us have done it.
So school bus.
You have to use 3 words.
School bus bad. yeah.
Okay, no follow-up questions. And also, you'd be surprised to know that a lot of our stories involve a school bus.
Yeah. A lot of commutes to school.
I think that age you're overconfident with your bowel movement.
Yeah, you're not in touch
but
with your body.
you're not actually in touch with it. Yeah, but
yeah, and you're also like, I'm afraid to like ask to leave a bus in some situation or ask for like permission to have like to go somewhere. Okay, let's get into these internet questions. Amanda Johnson wants to know, who was your favorite teacher and why? This could be either like a school teacher or I would say even like someone that's given you really good advice in your career.
Yeah, I hated everyone. Yeah, that's why I'm like this right now. Maybe I didn't. Maybe that's why I'm like that. I didn't have a good school teacher. I had like, I recently went back to. I went to school in Singapore. I went back to my junior college, which is I guess the equivalent of high school.
Okay,
is where you go just before college.
Okay,
and I did my A levels there for 2 years, and I met my old like form teacher, Mr. Tan, and he's he was young at the time, and he still looked super young, and he was really cool. Like he was a cool guy. He was by Singapore standards. Yeah, it's pretty, because Singapore teachers get really strict. Like they cane you. So he was really cool. He never caned anyone. He was like, he was young, so he seemed pretty hip.
He's like very progressive.
Yeah, he's also very smart.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
see, there you go. You had a good teacher.
I did. Yeah, and I messaged him because I shot this little like, go back to where you came from documentary, like with Australian television, to see where I went to school. Yeah. So he appeared on it. He came and appeared
That's
on it.
awesome.
Yeah, he was very nice. Yeah.
Did he say anything like how proud he was of you?
He said he remembered. He said something. He was very. He said, "Hey, do you want me to be on this thing?" I said, "Do it and say whatever you want."
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna.
You don't have
be
to be
honest.
nice about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't be nice. Just be completely honest. He goes, "I'm gonna be completely honest." I'm like, "I want you to be completely honest."
Yeah.
And so he said, he said the good and the bad, which is good. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Can people watch this? Is this available for them to see?
It is, but because it's on Australian television, no one will ever watch it. But,
all right, there you go.
But you can if you look it up. I mean, it's Julia Zamero's Home Delivery. I think that's what it's called.
Very cool.
Yeah, Home Delivery on ABC in Australia.
Very cool. Yeah. Okay, Garrett Odin wants to know, what's your favorite food that you know you shouldn't have but eat anyways?
Oh, I don't eat it anymore, but it's char kway teow.
It's
you got char kway teow. It's Singaporean stuff.
Oh,
shout out any Singaporeans, Malaysians listening.
What kind of food is it?
It's like, first of all, I've never found it done correctly, anywhere near correctly outside of Singapore and Malaysia.
Yeah.
So you can only eat it there, and it's like think of like flat noodles, like just wok stir fried with like black sauce and like literally lard. I think they just throw lard in there.
Oh wow!
And then
sounds like a great hangover food.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's the best. And you can't find and there's egg, and then there's like bean sprouts, and it's delicious. Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I'll show you a photo right now, and I mean, I don't know if we have time for. I just want to make you guys. I'm a very big proponent of good food.
Yeah, have you found any places in the States that are like your go-to recommendation spots for anyone looking for authentic?
Okay, I'm just gonna show you. This is what I do. Whenever I find a cool place, I mark it down on Google Maps.
Yeah. This
is like my map of. First of all, I got it worldwide, but no one on the podcast can see this, but this is my family.
Whoa.
Moly.
Okay, so you can't see this, but it literally looks
There's
like if you looked
50
at.
dots on the island of Manhattan.
But it's also that looks like a map of like where bed bugs are.
Oh, sorry, that was my big butt map. Sorry. I meant my food. I want to share my food map. But Chao Kway Teow. So I have a website about food.
You do?
So just, yeah.
What's
so
the website?
I'm okayofanything.com. I am okayofanything.com, and I'm working on this other website to basically put the list online.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
people would love these recommendations.
Yeah, I'm all about that stuff, man. So.
No, Jimmy was too. He gave Brooks is my boyfriend. He gave Brooks and I a recommendation when we were in Boston for a hot
that
pot,
does
and it
look
was
good.
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. So I mark down all my favorite spots on Google Maps.
Yeah.
When someone recommends something, I mark it down.
That's
and
great.
The idea is like whenever you're out and about and you want to find something to eat, you can see what's near you and just go try it out.
That's
Yeah.
perfect. Oh
Yeah.
my God. I'm just looking at photos of really great looking noodles.
Yeah,
oh my
Chao Kway
God.
Teow.
Are you going to do a book? This feels like a very book friendly thing.
Maybe, yeah. I thought of it more as a website. So
Like
what
an
happened?
app?
Yeah. So what happened was in Melbourne. I lived in Melbourne, Australia for 10 years, and
Yeah.
I would compile lists of all the cool places to eat in Melbourne,
Yeah.
organized according to brunch, lunch, dinner, dessert, and late night. Sorry, it was like brunch and lunch,
Yeah.
and then dinner, and then late night, and then dessert, and organized according to price range as well. So like 10 to
Wow.
20, 15 to 25,
Wow.
$30.
How do we
So-
hook you up with a web developer so you can make this into an app?
Oh, by the way, that's also another interesting story. But so I had this list. I'll email it to comics who are visiting Melbourne.
Oh,
that's cool.
Yeah, and
Very
I kept,
thoughtful of
yeah,
you.
and I kept emailing it, and then eventually I just went, whatever. I just made a website. So I made a website for it, so people could just go there. So my list was on there.
Oh,
so that's
cool.
why, I'm all about recommendations. And then I hired someone off Reddit to develop the website for it.
Yeah.
And this guy was fucking insane. So do not hire a freelancer
I was like, that seems
Off
like
of Reddit?
off Reddit.
Shocking.
There is a 80% chance they'll murder you.
Got it. All right. Cool.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
You never learn, how would you know that unless you tried?
Unless you tried, yeah. You know, if you Google freelancers hiring hitmen to kill clients, it's a thing in America. Yeah,
What?
yeah. Like it mostly occurs with contractors.
Wow.
Like home renovation,
Yeah.
people will hire a hitman to kill their client.
What?
Yeah. Just Google it. It's crazy.
Wow.
Crazy.
Okay. You have to come back on another episode and we got to talk through that. 'cause
Yeah,
that
that's
is
a whole story.
fascinating.
But basically, on Reddit, be careful of who you. Yeah. As usual.
It's a cautionary tale.
It's a cautionary tale, and just be careful who you hire because overpromise, underdeliver, and hitmen are a real
Wow.
thing. Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
Good to know. I
Jeez.
stay off Reddit for the most part because that to me is a very angry
Sure.
website, but even more reason. Cool. Okay. Kevin Ramachet wants to know who, real person or fictional character, do you do the best impression of?
Man, I'm really bad at accents, so I can't.
Have you ever tried to do impressions like in your
I
stand-up?
did. I tried to do. No, in stand up, no.
No. Okay.
No, in stand up, no. Man, who can I do? I can't do any. I'm really bad at.
Can you at least do Trump? Most comedians can
Trump,
at least do like the current president of the United States.
Right. Fake news. It's dominating our country. I can't even do it. I can't even
That's
do
pretty
it
good.
right. Yeah.
It's not bad.
I think it's great.
And maybe I'm too self-conscious with it, but apparently this accent, this Asian accent, is the worst to try to do other accents. Oh, it's the hardest for me to do another accent. Is actually like supposedly way harder than like Australian is the broadest. So Australian accent can do other accents very easily. British, American.
interesting.
But if you have like this Asian English accent, like apparently it's the hardest to try to do other
I
accents.
saw a little clip online with you and Trevor Noah in between scenes
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
Daily Show
yeah.
of him explaining to the audience, like behind the scenes,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
this accent that you have is not fake.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that's what
Don't
people,
put
I
it
guess,
on.
assumed that when
Yeah.
you started on the show.
Right,
Which
right.
must have been fun to be like, no, this is part of me.
Yeah.
How are you telling me I'm making this up?
Right.
Okay, Kate Mary Skacken wants to know if you could choose your age forever, what age would you choose and why?
Oh, easy. That's easy. 30, right? 30.
30.
I think 30 is cool.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
with you.
32 is even cool. I think 33 is cool. I think 35 is cool. I think that anything more is bad.
30s.
Okay,
Yeah.
so 35 is going to be when you max out.
Got when
it.
I max out. But I think the older you get, the more I'm actually really happy not being 20 anymore.
Isn't that the fun? I'm
Fucking hate
32,
20.
and so
I'm 32 too. Way to go, born in 1985.
Yeah,
This is our time.
I know.
This is our time. Yeah.
I feel really good about it. There was a hesitation turning 30, and then when I turned 30, there was a relief almost of
Right.
like, cool.
Sure.
You start caring less about things,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is very, very freeing.
I mean, look, I wouldn't know. You would know better than me. I think it's different for men and women.
Sure.
Though in terms of like whatever
Societal standards,
Yeah,
etc.
societal
Beauty,
Yeah.
skin doing crazy things.
Yeah, so that stuff sucks. I can't speak to that at all. But I do think that 32 is like like it's cool. It's like
Yeah.
you're young enough to still give a fuck and
Yeah.
know what is cool.
You can still rage.
Yeah, but you're
but it hurts a little bit.
but you're old enough. You have enough experience to execute properly now. Execute plans properly.
Yeah,
That's
you're not a
what
total idiot.
you're not a total fucking idiot. Yeah.
I'm pretty proud of that. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm just a little bit of an idiot enough that I still relate to
Yeah.
people in their 20s. But you bridge the gap, I think,
Yeah.
between millennials and like, what's the generation? What's
Gen
our
Z.
parents?
X.
Oh, Gen X.
Gen
Baby
X.
boomers
Yeah.
is our parents,
Yeah.
but X is the previous generation.
Yeah.
And I actually think that after the global financial crisis in 2009, which here I think you call the Great Recession,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of middle management got fired, and so there's a huge gap between Gen X and our generation.
Oh,
there should have been a
interesting.
middle. There should have been
Something in between.
There should have been like people in their 40s
Oh.
to navigate that, and that's missing, and that's why there's so much. That's my theory anyway. That's why there's so much like
Whoa.
disconnect.
Conspiracy theory.
yeah, there's a disconnect between
Yeah, I was gonna
culturally a disconnect.
Yeah, there majorly is.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just thinking about it a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you touched on this a little bit, but Kelsey Littleton wants to know, how was it playing a douche in Crazy Rich
It
Asians?
was easy. It's super
was-
easy. Yeah. It was very cool. Like, it was fun. It was fun because you're just a huge dick. Just be a huge dick.
Without any consequence.
Well, any consequence. And also, I was shooting with the film with single-pointed actors. And these
with
are...
extras and everything.
No,
right?
no,
Or-
the actors
Oh,
were
yeah.
they were part of the main cast.
Yeah.
And these are actors who I grew up watching.
Oh, wow.
So
that's cool.
imagine like growing up watching, I don't know, like Family Matters or wherever,
The
you know,
Olsens.
Olsens or Seinfeld or whatever it
Yeah.
is, and then suddenly, you know, you're in a scene with someone you grew up watching and you're
That's
being a
nuts.
dick to them. it's
That's
hilarious.
a little bit of a
yeah.
mindfuck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love all Singapore actors. Pierre Peng, Fiona Xie, Amy Chung, Janice, all these people. Like I grew up watching them on screen.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and so it was very fun to play it, and it was that's also the reason why I was pushing to be on the movie, because I'm like, yo, I know these people, I know this character, I know
Yeah.
this world.
You're like, I'm
Yeah.
a dick.
I'm a huge
Let
dick.
Me
I can do it.
this.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
This is Nelly says, if you could ask Trump any question, what would it be?
Oh man.
Let's say if you could ask him like a really stupid question, nothing that you would want to ask from like Daily Show point of view, I guess.
Yeah.
Like the silliest question.
Oh, the silliest question.
Yeah. Or most embarrassing for him on like a personal level.
God damn. That one question only.
Yeah, one question.
That he has to answer honestly.
They has to answer honestly.
Yeah, that he actually can't avoid.
yeah.
I'm trying to think, because my first instinct is to ask him like, you know, you're doing a bad job, right? Like, you know, but he would be like, no, I'm doing a great job. So I don't even know
Yeah,
how
he
to.
would
Yeah, he'd be like,
deflect.
I'm like one of the greatest presidents of all
Yeah.
time.
I think I would ask, which parent loved you less? Like, which parent did
That's
you
a good
really
question.
want more love from that you didn't get?
I would say both parents love me a lot. You know, it's amazing how much they love me. It was just a house of love.
Greatest love of all
Great
time,
love
some
of all
might say.
time, yeah.
Books have been written about the love we share.
Yeah.
Movies.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of people are asking about your craziest experience working on The Daily Show. Is there a segment or a moment that comes to mind?
There's a lot. I mean, yeah, there's a lot. I got to interview Nazis that I got to interview like a white supremacist who I wasn't smart enough to get him, so we couldn't even use it. So there you go.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was what else did we do? We were like running through. I recently had to like talk to ride a motorcycle like in a full suit.
You had to actually ride a motorcycle?
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you know how to ride a motorcycle?
No.
Wait, so how did that go
Yeah,
down?
it's not great.
In New York?
No, it was in
Okay.
Texas.
I was going to say, if you don't know how to ride a motorcycle, and then they put you on the streets of New York.
Yeah,
That's terrifying.
Yeah, man, craziest experience.
I mean, that sounds pretty crazy. I mean, have there been any like safety measure weird experiences? Like,
no, usually when it's crazy, like a convention, a Republican convention.
yeah. Those sound
crazy. We have security, so
Okay.
I mean, you feel a false sense of like security because they're there.
Yeah.
False in that like they're there and they definitely know what they're doing, but at the same time, it's like if shit went down, like,
anything could
yeah.
happen. Yeah, that's nuts.
So you were at the Republican convention.
Yeah, it was at Republican and Democratic, and it was only weird insofar like we thought it would be weirder than it was. Actually, it wasn't that weird. The only
Sure.
moderately dangerous thing was that there was a lot of like Second Amendment people there with
With
assault
their guns.
rifles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this was Cleveland or the other place. I can't remember where the Republican one was. But anyway,
right.
they were in this state where you could open carry. And so it was just a lot of firepower.
Yeah.
Because there was the police, there was those guys. And
yeah.
so that was the only reason why it was weird. But it wasn't,
That's unnerving. To
yeah,
look
it was just
around and
unnerving.
see.
It wasn't that nothing happened. No one threw anything.
Sure.
It was just like, man, there's just a lot of firepower in one.
In real life.
Yeah, to
in
be
one
around.
area. Yeah. And it feels like the slightest thing that
Sure.
it goes off is going to set off a domino effect.
Yeah.
That could be very strange.
Yeah, it's scary.
Sorry, I wish I could answer this better. I kind of block out a lot of.
No worries. I mean, I was going to ask earlier about
Yeah.
like your travel experiences. I always love to hear, especially comics that are on the road a lot.
Yeah,
and for
yeah.
you traveling, have you had a weird airplane experience? Have you had a weird travel
I think
scenario?
the craziest thing I had in America was I took a lift, like a lift, LY,
Yeah.
lift from Delaware to Philadelphia.
really?
Through
How
a
long?
snow. There was like a 4-hour ride
Wow.
through like a snowstorm to get a flight to go to Vancouver, and that guy was a hero.
Wow.
Yeah, because-
you had to. I mean, that's 4 hours with one single
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
How was that?
I was very thankful because I was supposed to fly from Delaware to Vancouver, or Delaware to Philadelphia to Vancouver, whatever it was. I was supposed to go to Vancouver,
Right.
And that there was a snowstorm that closed off the eastern seaboard, so Philadelphia was the first one to open.
Wow.
And I had to get to some shows, and they were like big shows in Vancouver for Just for Laughs, like theater shows.
Yeah.
And it was just me, like for 1 hour, so it wasn't like I was doing 15 minutes. It was like my
Right,
1 hour
right.
show. And so I was trying to get there, and I saw that the flights leaving Philadelphia were going, and this was like 2 a.m. I was in Delaware doing a show at University of Delaware, and so I was like, how do I get from Delaware to Philadelphia? All the flights are closed,
Yeah.
and the trains are closed. So I was like, oh, I'll just try Lyft, and then I scheduled a Lyft at like 2 a.m.
Whoa.
And when you schedule a Lyft, apparently the driver can see your destination. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
so they can
Okay.
decide.
So
if
they didn't
wanna
decide, but I didn't know that at the time. I just scheduled it, and then
Okay.
someone showed up, and I was like, "Yo, I'm going to Philadelphia. Is that okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna."
Yeah,
and-
I saw it already. I know,
Yeah.
because that's the
That's
thing. You don't want to
crazy.
like
Wow.
spring it on them all of
yeah.
a sudden.
And if he said no, I wouldn't have blamed, right? Like, because
Yeah.
of course, why
course.
would you want to drive to Philadelphia? But anyway, he drove 2 a.m. We drove through the night through snowstorm, so he had to like detour around bridges.
yeah, holy
Wow.
shit.
And he got me there, and I was like, "Oh my god, you're amazing!" You know,
Hero.
He is a hero.
And I tweeted Liv. I was like, "Yo, this guy, take care of this guy. This guy's like a
Yeah.
hero." And they were like, "Oh yeah, we always love hearing great stories." So shout out that guy.
Did you guys get to know each other on the ride? I imagine.
Kind of, but we were both like, like I think we were very similar people. He was very friendly. He's much friendlier than I am. But at the same time, we weren't like, we didn't like bond or anything.
Right.
Like-
Yeah. So you didn't add him to your WhatsApp chat. or
Right.
anything.
Yeah. So, but he was super nice, and he was, yeah.
That's amazing. Shout out to him.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just emotionally unavailable, but I didn't bond with him. But we had a great time, and yeah,
Because you didn't bond with your Lyft driver.
yeah.
you
I don't
think
know.
you're
Maybe now
emotionally
you're making me
unavailable.
think that maybe I should have been
No,
closer.
that's what I prefer. I was down at San Diego
Yeah.
Comic-Con over the weekend, and I had to come back, and the trains were delayed, but I like had to be back, and so I was like in my head contemplating just calling an Uber to drive from San Diego to LA, but then I didn't because my second thought was, I'm gonna have to spend a long time in a car with just a stranger.
Yeah,
So what's
right.
I guess I'll take this alternative of just waiting longer with a bunch of strangers. It's just to me, I'm like, I want to know it's okay. I put my headphones on. I don't. It's not that I don't want to talk to you. I just
No,
kind of.
but you can do that in a Lyft. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I've only taken a Lyft once before, and the guy was like, "You can sit up front," because he was like trying to be cool and casual. It was just in LA, like, and because I drove to a party, then left my car there, and like took an Uber home, and then it was like Lyft was new in LA. So I called a Lyft, and the guy was just like shaggy hair, like fun-loving dude, was just like, "Hey, you can sit up front." And I was like, I don't know if this is not okay. Okay, it's like 10 a.m. the next day, and so I was like, I'm just driving back to my car. It's like 5 minutes away, and then we drive, and then I was like, oh shit. He's like, what's up? I was like, my car got towed. Like my car wasn't there anymore. And he was just like, oh, damn. So, and then we sat in silence for like 30 seconds. Just like didn't know what to do. And I was like, I guess, can you take me back to my house? And so then I only stuck with Uber after that. I was like, I'm blaming this Lyft experience on this. Okay, Melita Kenda wants to know, who was your favorite person to collab with?
Favorite person to collaborate with?
Oh, they're knocking.
That guy?
Yeah.
Here they are.
This one, they want to know. I guess because you've collabed in so many different ways with people.
Yeah.
That who's the favorite like person, let's say in stand up, that you've like opened for, or like best experience in that world? I mean, I know you talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, Bill Burr is kind of like a hero of mine, so it was really cool to meet him, and he asked me to open. Is that bothering anybody with the no?
Our mics are pretty like.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
it can't actually pick up that
Cool.
much.
Someone's knocking in case in case this part makes it to the podcast. So I'm just wondering. I remember what happened was I was just doing shows in Australia, doing stand up. I was maybe 5 years into stand up.
Okay.
And I did a Montreal set in 2013. I did Just for Laughs. It made it to TV, I guess. You never know. It's so,
right,
it's
that
in
whole
Canada.
world, that festival, yeah.
Yeah. And one day I did that in 2013. And then one day in 2014 or 2015, it must have been 2014, I get a message on Facebook from Bill Burr. And it's like a picture of a car.
Yeah, so you're like, who is this like spam account?
Yeah, so he was like, hey, Ronnie, this is Bill Burr here. I saw your set. I just want to say, I thought it was really funny. Hopefully you get a chance to work together.
Whoa.
And I was looking, I was like, oh, there's no way this
can't be real.
Yeah, someone's pranking me. And I was like, yeah, sure. Whatever, go fuck yourself. And then but then I was like, you know what? I can't, like, I'm such a fan of his, like, I can live with being pranked. I can't live with telling him to go fuck himself.
Yeah.
So I was like, thanks so much. I actually live in Australia, so I don't know if I'll ever actually get to work with you ever, but it's very nice of you to message me. Hopefully I do see you sometime. And then he replied like, oh, I'm actually touring Australia next year. I'd love for you to be on the show. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, I was like, yeah, of course.
Sure,
I didn't think it was actually him.
Yeah, not like low expectations.
Yeah, and then a year passed, and then he messaged me like, hey, can you be on the show? And I'm like, yeah, I can be on the shows. And so the whole time I'm like, I think I'm getting catfished here.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna get murdered.
That someone's gonna pull up in that car on the photo and kidnap you.
Yeah. So I showed up at the show behind the theater, and until I met him, I still didn't believe like he actually asked me to.
Right.
So I'm walking in, I'm like, really? And then I met him. I was like, oh, cool. And he's super down to earth guy. And
that's so awesome.
Yeah. So that was a cool kind of
all via
moment.
Facebook. Wow.
Yeah.
So look,
And
social media is helping you out sometimes.
Yeah, and that's the only reason I keep it, because you need it for work. You never know when your idol is gonna message you and, hey, great job, man.
There you go. I think that's the best piece of advice you can give young stand-ups starting out. Is just keep your Facebook open for those potential catfishes.
Yeah.
Sometimes they turn out okay.
Yeah, 1% of the time it's actually the real guy. Yeah.
Ronnie, we're reaching the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for being
this
here.
This was a lot of fun. Thanks for talking to me.
Of
you guys
course.
are the best.
Where can people find you, find everything you're doing, find the new Comedy Central show?
Yeah, so I guess it's the pilot is airing on August 13th on the app, and then we have 1 week where the whole series is on the app but before the paywall, so you don't have to log in. You can binge the whole series for 1 week. I think it's like 21st of August or something.
That's awesome.
RonnyChieng.com, obviously.
Great.
And
and your food blog.
Oh, it's awesome. Like there's a link to it, but the food, I'm reworking it. So
cool. It's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress.
Just check in from here and there.
The Melbourne one is there. I'm okay with anything.com, but the global one I'm still working on. So.
Cool.
Because of the as I mentioned before, Reddit and hitmen and freelancers.
So is the Reddit hitman guy? Is he the guy you would throw cold spaghetti at?
Oh yeah,
there you go.
There you go. But then he probably hire a hitman to come.
Yeah, he probably retaliate a little bit more harmfully. Also, we give every guest that's on our podcast a personalized fortune cookie.
Thank you.
Yeah,
everyone's fortune cookie, right? This isn't some racial thing.
No.
Cool.
Absolutely, literally every single person gets a fortune cookie, and it's personalized if you want to open it and read the fortune.
Right now?
Sure.
Cool. I can't eat gluten or sugar.
Don't worry,
you don't actually have to eat.
They're also not. We steam them open to put in our personalized fortunes.
Yeah, I would recommend you not eating it.
I'm actually just joking. I can't eat it, but thank you. Crazy. Okay, here's my fortune. I opened the cookie. It says Crazy Rich Asians comes out August 15th in the US, and everyone should go see it. Whoa, you weren't even trying to plug because you're just reading what the cookie says, but no one will really believe you. Damn, this fortune is on the nose.
Yeah, weird how that works out.
It's so weird. Man, this is great tie into the movie, by the way.
There we go.
Yo,
the universe provides.
No, I'm saying they should do this with fortune cookies.
You can. We're allowing you to take that idea.
Yeah, let them know.
Talk about monetizing podcasts. This is it.
That's it. That's it. That's the future of grassroots marketing.
I gotta tell them to put that shit in. Imagine you open a fortune cookie and it's like promoting the movie.
You could make them for so cheap and have them in so many restaurants across so many countries.
I know.
Just saying. Well, thank you, Ronny, for being here.
Thank you for
Go check out
having me.
everything that he's doing, and make sure you tune into The Daily Show because you're popping up there all the time.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Of course. We'll see you guys next time on another episode of Not Too Deep. Goodbye.
Too deep, too deep, too deep, not too deep with Grace Helbig.
Cafe Monster is shaking up the ready-to-drink coffee category with indulgent gourmet coffee that is only 190 calories, and it's available in vanilla, mocha, and salted caramel with 150 milligrams of caffeine from coffee beans, B vitamins, and coffee fruit extract in every bottle. Cafe Monster offers a simplified energy blend that contains a third less sugar than the leading national brand. But you still get the same feel and flavor of your local coffee house. We've tried it. It's delicious. We've said it before. We'll say it again. God bless you, Cafe Monster. Chill it down, shake it up, and enjoy.
Not Too Deep is a production of Grace Helbig Incorporated.
Produced and directed by Jack Ferry.
Producer Melissa D. Mons.
With writing by Diane Kang. Audio support by Chris Henry.
Editing by Melissa D. Mons.
And an extra special thank you to Flula for the theme music.